You know what really pisses me off in the world, like besides wokeness and all that, is how they have to throw racism onto everything. I'm pretty sure that actually started years ago under the former president. Like the second you didn't agree with him, you were just racist, and it's because he was black. And really, I didn't agree with him just because he's an idiot. Call me crazy, but those policies were asinine, and now we're doing pretty much his third term. And as you can see, still very much asinine, still very, very bad. And yet here we are, still living with it all. But the story that came out that the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights now is a trigger warning because it could set people off because it's not all inclusive and could come across any sort of way. Like this stuff's coming from like just pure idiocy. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't see it talking about like, throwing anyone's race or anything in there. Like, if you don't like it, I mean, it's too damn bad. But throwing warnings on that now, the founding documents that give people the right to do all the shit that they do. I mean, was everything perfect? No. But look at the world then, and look how the world is now. Look how we were as a country then. Look how far we've come. We've gotten that way because we have all these documents and all these things in here, but yet they're putting trigger warnings on it. Like, that has to be the most asinine, ass backwards, ass hattery, ass wagon-y. I don't know, but that's just so dumb it hurts. It's really embarrassing when you think about it. But people coming up with this stuff for, lifetime appointees that, well, they're appointed by Obama. So I imagine it's going to keep happening. You know what I mean? Really, like, my running theory is that people that keep finding racism and everything are actually the ignorant racists themselves, because normal people don't even like think about it. And I'm not saying racism isn't a real thing. Guess what? There's always going to be racists, just like there's always going to be homophobes and all kinds of other people. You're never going to be able to get rid of them. They're not all going to go away. But for how much racism they're finding in everything, and the critical race theory and the 1619 Project trying to rewrite history and make everything about race. Schools in Atlanta, Michigan, like all kinds of places, bringing back segregation. Like last time I checked, that's a step backward. Like all this stuff they're doing to make progress is stepping everything ass backwards, making all the progress that we've made for the decades now absolutely worthless, which is amazing. And somehow they keep saying they're putting up the good fight and all that other dumb shit. I mean, I'm sorry for cussing so much more. I'm probably going to, but this is just a special level of stupid. And Google, of all people, I mean, Google hates me, even though I use CDC like base facts. They banned my one episode from their services, so that's gone. But they're doing, anti-racist training for their employees. And of course, Ben Shapiro, Donald Trump, the normal names come up, but they claim that there is a direct link between listening to Ben Shapiro and committing mass murder. Like I can't make it up. I mean, like anyone that's ever listened to Ben, I mean, he's fact-based, Jewish, by the way, talks to all kinds of people, works with all kinds of people, denounces, racism, white supremacy, all that stuff all the time. It was like that other orange guy. No one we're going to get to him. Yet here they are doing it. Also, see, I said we'll get to him. Also places President Trump on a list of ideas and people that lead to genocide, along with apolitical ideas and phrases such as all lives matter. And him and Ben Shapiro contribute to the normalization of racism that eventually inspires mass shooters and leads to the genocide of entire people groups. Like this was legit in this training thing for anti-racism. And anyone on the other side is automatically just racist. Like, when was the last time we saw, I don't know, like, guess what? There's mass shooters from all across on different sides. We all know that. We've all seen that. I mean, and really all the ones that kept trying to put on Trump, like, I mean, it wasn't a mass shooter that plotting to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. It's like they hated Trump. Like, a lot of these people hate Trump. The Bernie bros, Bernie bro, shot all the senators like Steve Scalise. Lefty, like, I mean, how about we just, call it like it is? It goes both ways, but inspires mass shooters into genocide of entire people groups. Now, when was the last time anyone around this country was committing genocide? I mean, China is. Hitler did. Yeah, lots of people, but, like genocide of entire peoples. Like, and they get away with this stuff. Like, that's the part that actually probably pisses me off more than anything. Like, I don't even get how that's like a real thing. Like, it's actually mind boggling that anyone's that dumb and put it in there. And I'm sure actually, with how woke and crazy, Google can be, there's worse out there. But, the great people that say if you have a VPN to protect yourself, sorry, you can't use YouTube because they can't track you. Yeah. Very good people at, Google and all that. But the phrase all lives matter and, being, supporting and listening to President Trump and Ben Shapiro contributes to the normalization of racism and eventually inspires mass shootings and leads to the genocides of entire people. Like, that isn't the dumbest spin up shit I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, look at all the crazy things that happened over, let's say, last summer. And it was all one side of the government telling people to stay in the streets and be more crazy. Hell, earlier this year, Maxine Waters did the same thing during a certain trial, telling them to get crazy where they were literally burning cities to the ground, encouraging people and setting up bail funds to get them out. You're welcome, Kamala Harris. You did it. And we're getting accused of, inciting all kinds of things. Like I am. I've been accused of it. I take it with a grain of salt. I throw out some facts, dumb shit that happens and all that. And then I just get told that I'm being racist and everything else and yada, yada, yada. The usual comebacks. We've all heard the usual comebacks. Yeah, they happen a lot. It's just amazing. And then they call the white supremacy pyramid advances the idea that Shapiro is a foundation of white supremacy. And President Trump is moving, again, society on a path toward mass murder and genocide. So, of course, there's a legitimate white supremacy. They have pyramids with all kinds of different words. I didn't take the really like overt white supremacy, socially acceptable, like stuff. And then there's, up top there with things like, I don't know how it's, socially unacceptable, lynching, hate crimes, blackface, even though one of the professors, crazy liberal that was there, rallying for Governor Newsom, called a black man, the blackface on white supremacy. See, it's okay if they say it and use it, but we're the bad people here. Larry Elder is the blackface on white supremacy, and the governor of Virginia, it's okay if he dress up as blackface. You see all the outpouring and people getting canned all over the place and bad things happening for blackfacing, but it's okay if you're a Democrat. Argue with me. It's true. But yeah, lynching, hate crimes, blackface, the N-word, swastikas, neo-Nazis, burning crosses, racist jokes, racial slurs, and the KKK are on the top of this pyramid. You can't see it. It's super glowing, but it's there. And then on the bottom half, covert white supremacy, which is socially acceptable, calling the police on black people, apparently. Like, you report a false crime. I mean, like, that's illegal. White savior complex, mass incarceration, blaming the victim. Well, I mean, if we started holding like, especially like last year, a lot of those police involved shootings, like, sorry, they got shot for a reason. Normally it's because they were attacking the police and shooting things at them. We're going for weapons and not listening. So, sorry, there's a lot of them. That Chauvin thing, no, that was murder. We all agreed, went over this before. But yeah, let's not. Like, sorry, hold people accountable. be surprised how much stupid shit would go away if we, let the police do their job and didn't make heroes out of idiots. Make America great again. That's a covert white supremacy thing that's socially not challenging racist jokes, English only initiatives, weaponized whiteness, exceptionalism. Like we think we're better as a country, like American exceptionalism. That's why all these people are fleeing to get here. Racial profiling, denial of white privilege. I hate to break it to you, I'm white. A whole town full of white people, lots of white people everywhere that live under poverty and have zero privilege or anything in their damn life. There's liberal privilege. There's rich privilege, no matter what side, if you come up, through money, no matter what color you are, because it's people of all colors that are coming up through money. Hey, break it to you. They're privileged. The rest of us normal white folk, yeah, no. All right, I don't remember ever want to know where all this where this was, where this privilege that I allegedly came from. Must have missed it. I'm really good at missing memos, especially if it was sent to the other email, file, or if it's in the junk, like it's just getting deleted without even a thought. So if the memo was in there, maybe I missed it. But yeah, I really don't remember where all this, happened. Like, where's my privilege? Where was Sean's privilege? Where's my sister's privilege? There's Eric, Mark, Teresa, Alex, JR, Richie, Mike, Savannah, Marianne, Brittany. I'm just naming off everyone that hung out with at some point in life. There, Ryan. I mean, like, there's no big privilege. Like, we were all sorry people. Like, tried to keep the people in Whitehaven. Like, where the hell was yours? We didn't have any, believe it or not. Like, there's privilege for people that are privileged. I mean, really look at the privilege going around. Really, I mean, look at all the people that got bailed out of jail or didn't have anything happen when they were, robbing stores. Like, you can walk out, like stories in California and Oregon, people walking out $1,000 worth of stuff, and no one can do anything about it because it's okay. People that were getting bailed out after lighting things on fire last year, not arrested at all. Like, sorry, that's a privilege towards criminals and people that vote Democrat and idiots and scumbaggery of all colors were out there. Like, and look at how much stuff they were looting away with all colors. No one gave a damn. They let them just do it. That's privilege, for criminals and all that, But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I missed it. Someone please enlighten me where the hell I missed it, but I don't remember being privileged ever. Lots of, weirdness growing up and mom busting her ass and all this stuff. Like there was too much privilege going around, but there's lots of, again, you're born into money and all that, then privileged. People that bust their ass to get there, they know are privileged because they busted their ass to get there. Liberals, I mean, again, Republicans did whiteface, got like shellacked. Governor of Virginia does it. He still has his thing. It's okay. He apologized. So they're allowed to apologize and move on. Got that professor again, calling Larry Elder blackface on white supremacy. Like, it's okay if they throw it out there on everybody. But, I just hate the idiocy in it all. And really, it's just, I don't know. It's just amazing. And then there's another white supremacy pyramid. Normalization starts out, indifference. On the bottom of the pyramid, indifference. There are two sides of every story. Apolitical beliefs, avoiding confrontation. Politics don't affect me. Minimization. White savior complex. Not all white people not believing POC experiences. Denial of white privilege. Post-racism intentions and impact. Veiled racism. Victim blaming. Racist jokes. Eurocentric curriculum. Tokenism. Cultural appropriation. Racist icons. Discrimination. I'm moving up. Racial profiling, mass incarceration, racial slurs, fear of POC, people of color, anti-immigration policies, calls for violence, KKK, neo-Nazis burning crosses, violence, lynching, hate crimes, police brutality, and then mass murder all the way up to the top. And that's how we go from normalization all the way up to genocide with what they gave these people. And you see, I mean, Trump's on the list, and Shapiro's on the list. People who think all lives matter is on the list. police are on the list. Like, there's all kinds of just sheer, like, just idiocy. Yeah, like this. Want to know why there's like all this crazy alleged racism everywhere? It's like because you guys just won't let it die. Like critical race theory, 1619 project trying to change the whole thing. Like there was a country here way before we were a country, or British colonies. They're, in fact, I believe Irish were the first slaves sent over here. Again, not like there's racists across all races. All right. There's racists all over the place. There's nothing we can do to change it, but trying to say it the whole country is a giant racist cesspool when Maxine Waters has been getting elected for forever. So a lot of these people, Brock was president twice. I mean, look how big Oprah, all these rappers, all these musicians. Yeah, rappers, musicians, there we go. Athletes, actors. Like, look how big all of them are. Like, if this place is really all that like superly racist, then why are they making all that money? They won't be put in positions of power, positions of anything. But can I say, can't fix dumb and ignorant, but again, I'm not claiming it's not a thing at all because it's never going to go away. No matter what, you're not going to fix everybody, but the whole country, nowhere near. Those people in California, I think it was last year, that were kneeling down, and apologizing for their whiteness like they think they're privileged. But I need to break it to you, they're just assholes. They're not privileged. They just think they're better, which makes them a dick. But employees were put through the training, are taught the U.S. is a system of white supremacy, and Americans are raised to be racist from infancy through adulthood, which is just, amazing when you think about it. But can't believe that. And when on the Ben Shapiro thing, because the guy does have credit and he's adding all of those things, like they threw him under the bus a lot. And it says all it would take is one Google search to learn just how much white supremacists hate my work or how often I've spoken out against their benighted philosophy. The attempt to link everyone to the right of Hillary Clinton to white supremacism is disgusting, untrue, and malicious, which, well, guess what? It all actually is, and they're all full of, well, you guys can put two and two together and try not to blow up, cuss all the time. But that racial re-education program, this program is based on the core tenets of critical race theory, including intersectionality, white privilege, and systemic racism. Like, again, how do you think any of this actually happened? Like, all these people being in power, having all this, like, influence on stuff. We're really all racist. Why do you think all these people are throwing Afghanistan are literally throwing their toddlers over barbed wire fences to get them the hell out of there? People illegally fleeing here all the time across southern border that we're letting in. Well over 1 million so far this fiscal year. And like, where this big, bad, evil racist place be it? Like, no. Like, I just wish people would actually wake up, or if they want, we could send them to some other country. They can see what actual racism is. They'd like. They seem to be such goddamn experts on everything. Sorry, but it's just completely wrong. And then part of the training video, founder of the famous 1619 project from the New York Times, Nicole Hannah-Jones, she was in one of the videos where she stated, if you name anything in America, I can relate it back to slavery. Adding, if you are white in this country, then you have to understand that whether you personally are racist or not, whether you personally engage in racist behavior or not, you are the beneficiary of a 350-year system of white supremacy and racial hierarchy. Again, no one's near perfect. No country will ever be perfect. But what the hell good do you do? Like, this is why we have like all this. Like, notice like people thought racial relations were getting better, and then, well, boom, they started laying the hammer again. I'm not saying we're perfect. We're nowhere near perfect. There's a lot of dumb stuff, but if you learn from it, then you can actually see how far we come and how much better you actually have it now. And that is a good thing. And really, all these incidents they keep highlighting are like little minimal things, like lives are lost, yes, but most of the time cops in the right and gets cleared. And we need to start blaming, victim blaming. Why? Because you fought a cop, stole his weapon, fired it off over his head, and got shot when you turned to fire it at his head. I'm sorry. You got shot. Whoever would have guessed? White people get shot like that all the time by the police. We don't burn down cities. You never hear about it in the news. Why? Because it doesn't fit the agenda. Just throwing it out there. But and they get on and on and on about, black racism, which, shocker, but don't overestimate white supremacy's ability to adapt. The assumption that more racial diversity equals more racial equality is a dangerous myth. Racial diversity can function as a cloaking device, concealing the most powerful forms of white supremacy while giving the appearance of racial progress. Racism will likely be just as entrenched in a browner America as it is now. It will still be white supremacy with the tan. Like literally, like you can't make this idiocy up. Like by 2045, apparently we're going to be, whites will be the minority according to the census stuff. And what, I'm not ever going to throw anything about that. Yeah. And the numbers and the people we're bringing in here, it's bound to happen. But of course, you have to go and say what them we're going to have black and brown people that are white supremacists. I don't even know how to discuss any of that, but this fits right in with it. CNN, of course, titled, American racism will never disappear. It will become white supremacy with the tan. It claims, racism so pervades every segment of U.S. society that one day white supremacy will be imposed by black and brown people. This is an article on CNN's website posted by CNN enterprise writer/producer John Blake, titled White Supremacy with a Tan, argues that a crafty impersonal force known as white supremacy is elastic enough to be perpetuated by people who are not white. And addresses what he considers the most lingering of political myths that whites aren't the majority, that racism will fade. America will be a minority nation by 2045, according to the census figures recently, and denies that the browning of America will lead to the erosion of white supremacy. Like I just said, went over before I even but that was a real thing that really posted. No matter what, even after we're all gone, it's even though we're going to be the minority, white supremacy is going to be a thing. If white supremacy is based on, I don't know, us being superior, how are we not being the superior thing? And black and brown people are going to suddenly start doing the white supremacy for us. Right. If you think that's actually a real thing, I really don't even actually know what to say to you. Lost for words with it, but you're not going to be white supremacy with, black and brown people doing it. It's just, sorry, doesn't work. Again, like I said, racists are still out there everywhere. Nothing you can do about it. A lot of people have tried to do it. It's just, they're always going to be there. There's always idiots and ignorant people filled with hate, no matter what the hell you do. We can't make a difference about that. We can all agree on that the country is systemically racist. Sorry, not anymore. The only reason all this stuff is why are we suddenly resegregating now, even though we're supposed to be, Black Lives Matter and all that. So why are we, black people resegregating themselves, just going backwards, and all that? I'm sorry, that's y'all doing it to yourselves. It's not good. It's not helping anything. It's actually putting things backwards. It makes race relations worse. And you listen to all kinds of idiocy, and I'm sorry, the world is not as big a dark, gloomy place as everyone makes it out to be. They don't. It's not. Again, is there racists everywhere? Yes, but going on mass incarceration. Well, guess who wrote that bill that led to that? Yeah. Right now, he doesn't know where he is, but they're pumping him up full of something so he could try to get through a teleprompter reading without completely shitting himself. He wrote it. He authored it. He's the one that made all the racial things. And then you guys turn around and say everyone on the right is the racists. People could be blackface. They you know, vote for me or him, then you're not black. You can't go to 7-Eleven without a slight Middle Eastern accent. I'm not kidding. I mean, didn't want his kids to go to school in a racial jungle. And he did that crime bill, black people, supreme predators with no conscience. Barack Obama being the first mainstream, clean, well-educated, articulate black man he's ever met. This is what, 2008? When they were, when he was vice president, when they were running, like his vice presidential nominee. There you go. Like that's, hell, it was during the primaries. I don't care. He still said it in 08. That's like absurdly racist stuff keeping coming out of his mouth. The lady going after Larry Elder, people calling him blackface, Uncle Tom's, everything else. Blackface of white supremacy. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, that's coming from the left. They're the ones calling everyone the enemy of the state. They're the ones, like CNN, mainstream media, the ones keeping all this racism alive. They're the ones pushing critical race theory, which people are finally fighting back against, but it's making everything about race and what makes them different. And white people apologizing for being like, I'm sorry, it's racist. They're actually physically making racism a thing to keep it going. Like, I mean, you've heard enough people like, well, as Denzel Washington said, it wasn't racism. Like all the friends he grew up with, like, were in prison. Why? Because, his dad was around to tell him to straighten up when he was being an idiot. And they all went to jail because they didn't have a dad. They know they don't say, get your shit together. He said single father homes, and that is what breaks down like that family and leads to crime and idiocy. Morgan Freeman, like, do you want a Jewish History Month? No. Well, why do I want a Black History Month? Doesn't want it. Lil Wayne, amongst other musicians and athletes, what I've never seen racism a day in my life. In fact, Lil Wayne said he looks down the crowd at his concerts. Most of the people he sees are white kids. Like Tommy Vex, like the list goes on and on. Just celebrities who spoke out about it, but they said they've never experienced it once in their life. Like, there's people that have grown up in some really bad places where racism is a real thing that said never like experienced it. Want to know why? Because it really isn't that big and predominant. It's still there, but sorry, all these things that happen, like the police, that what 90+% of them, it's justified, not because he's black. In fact, the numbers of shootings I went over, like how many times more we got shot than all minorities combined, how much we went up from the police compared to last year is obnoxious compared to everyone else. I mean, how many times it happens? Pretty sure last I checked, more police are getting killed in line of duty by black people than black people are, getting killed by police, at least unarmed and crazy. Like, it's really them just pushing it to keep us divided so that no one pays attention to anything else that's going on, all the stupid going on in the world. And really what it is. All the spending, all the stuff they're putting here, there, and everywhere, all the actual bad things happening because people are idiots. And I'm not saying it's just administration. It goes both ways. But Democrats and the left really do use it as a tool. And they fueled all the stuff last summer. I mean, again, they're putting up bail funds to tell people to stay in the streets and keep doing it. Don't stop. And there are literally cities burned to the ground. Then CNN's over there. It's fiery, but mostly peaceful. Like, over 200 buildings got torched in Minneapolis in the first 2 nights. It was over 200 or 400. Like, sorry, there's nothing peaceful about that. Things getting torched, people, ransacking stores and looting. And like, cops got injured, civilians got injured. Like, there's so much crazy. Like, and they fed into all of it. But then blamed it all on like racism. No, it's just you guys keep feeding into idiocy. And your people, like, education system needs to be fixed too. That's, teach people actual history so they know the history, they see how far we come. Okay, every country has, a past with something in there that they don't like. Like, you still got to learn from it, so you make sure you don't do all that shit again, which we're going back into. Again, segregation, all kinds of stuff, which drives me batty. But yeah, I wish they'd just stop already. Help my brain out at least a little bit, but we will see. We can always hope. Let's hope that you people hear this and spread it around. Reach out to people. Talk to people. Like, because again, what I've seen, places I've gone, not an ounce of racism or hating anybody. Everyone just sat there, got along, laughed, cheered, like saying, like everyone was good. I've been places, lots of people in them. So that's all I gotta say about that. But please share this out to people so they get that. Tell me what you think. I think I might be onto something. But that being said, I do appreciate the watch or the listen, no matter how you're doing it. If you're watching it and you want to like follow along easier, I'm on Spotify and Apple, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, Radio Public, Public Radio, Overcast, like all of that. If you prefer that over listening, everywhere I'm, over watching videos, so you can listen without having to see this face, my beautiful moose. But yeah, like I appreciate it. I'll just get it out there. The listening options are there. I just have a quick intro and an ad for my sponsor Anchor, who really does like make a lot of it possible for me, and they're really good to me. So that being said, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching and listening. Educate yourselves. Be nice to each other. For the love of God, be nice to each other. It's not that hard. It doesn't cost anything to not be a dick and actually be educated on stuff, because that's really what stops all this stupid from happening dead in its tracks, standing up and being educated and actually knowing stuff. So that being said, enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for listening, and peace.